Hair loss at the temples may be a sign of male pattern baldness, and it also may mean that if you're suffering with male pattern baldness, your hairline may continue to recede over time. While this kind of thinning and receding is certainly an alarming experience, not all hope is lost. In this video, we're going to take a look at the variety of methods to stop balding at the temples, and if you catch it early enough, you may even reverse some symptoms. So guys, before we get into the video on hair loss at the temples, if you're worried about your own hair loss, what you can do is click the link in the description, upload a quick hair selfie, answer a few simple questions, and you'll get your free hair loss analysis. So what you're going to learn about today in this video is we're first going to look at what it means to have balding temples. We're going to look at some of the causes. We're going to answer the question of whether or not it can be treated. Then we're going to show you how to treat early stage loss and regrow your hair. Then we're going to give you a must-try mixture that is backed by science, and then we've got a quick conclusion. So first, you're probably wondering, what does it mean to have balding temples? While most commonly seen in men with male pattern baldness, pattern hair loss is a phenomenon that can affect both men and women. This is a loss of hair that occurs at the temples or frontal region of the scalp. It may also be referred to as a receding hairline. It can begin as thinning but may progress to full-on baldness quite quickly depending on the cause and contributing factors. If you suspect temple hair loss, here are a few symptoms to be aware of. And that's thinning of the hair, increased loss of hair, itching or irritation of the temple or frontal scalp, flaking or crusting, brittle or easily damaged hair strands, or a noticeable peak at the forehead. When you catch these symptoms early, you're in a much better position to treat them, but we're going to give you a bit more on that later. So you're probably wondering, what causes balding temples to begin with? The first thing that we're going to look at is male pattern baldness. Now, male pattern baldness is thought to be triggered by a sensitivity to dihydrotestosterone. Dihydrotestosterone is a hormone and is created when the 5-alpha reductase enzyme attaches onto testosterone. Now, we all have levels of testosterone and dihydrotestosterone, and it's not necessarily high levels of dihydrotestosterone that cause male pattern baldness. It's actually people that are sensitive to dihydrotestosterone that it properly affects. So that is one of the first leading causes, is that you may be suffering with male pattern baldness. The next is traction alopecia. And depending on the way that you wear your hair, you may experience a problem known as traction alopecia. In its simplest terms, traction alopecia is hair loss caused by physical stress on the hair follicles. This occurs typically over a longer period of time when hair is pulled back tightly into ponytails, braids, or other such styles. In addition, the excessive wearing of hats or repetitive behaviours such as pushing your hair back at the forehead can damage the hairline and trigger hair loss. Also, stress may be a cause, and shedding that is triggered by stress is sometimes referred to as telogen effluvium. This is due to the interruption of the hair growth cycle at the telogen phase, and this commonly occurs as a response to emotional or physical stress. Common stressors include external shock, illness, and medications. Of course, a chronic stress condition such as insomnia or generalized anxiety disorder can also trigger loss. So, can hair loss at the temples be treated? The answer to this isn't exactly straightforward. This is because there are different causes as well as different severity levels. However, if the hair recession has only just begun, then there may be a few things that you can do not only to stop it, but even reverse it. So now we're going to look at some ways that you can treat your hair and how to start regrowing it. The first step is to find the real cause. As there are a few different causes of early stage, it's first vital that you discover the exact cause so you can treat the loss accordingly. This may be difficult, especially if you believe that a number of factors have played a role. With this in hand, you can then move on to the next step. The next step is to use natural methods to stop further loss. So that would start with cleansing and rejuvenating the scalp. Whether due to DHT sensitivity, traction, or stress, it never hurts to cleanse your scalp and provide it with the nutrients it needs for a healthy environment. So we've got a little recipe for you here to try for a scalp cleanse. So you need 1 cup of distilled water, 4 tablespoons of liquid Castile soap, 2 teaspoons of white willow bark extract, and 10 drops of tea tree oil. And what you simply do is combine the water and soap, stirring up until you get a soapy lather. Then add in the white willow bark and tea tree oil and mix it well. To use, all you do is pour it into your palm and massage it deeply into the scalp. You leave it for 2 to 3 minutes and then rinse thoroughly. The next step is to stimulate the hair follicles. A main factor of hair loss is hair miniaturization. This commonly occurs in male pattern baldness but can also take place due to trauma or other causes. To treat the miniaturization, then, stimulation of the hair follicles is a must. The easiest way to stimulate the follicles is through scalp massage. This will increase blood flow to the scalp, which delivers necessary oxygen and nutrients, which also remove harmful waste. However, a deeper and more effective option is available. Microneedling is a treatment method that involves the use of tiny needles. These needles are rolled over the scalp with the help of a derma roller and cause superficial wounds. As the wounds heal, they go through a 3-step process, which is inflammation, proliferation, and maturation. And that can actually stimulate hair growth at 5 times the normal rate. As you can see from the graph on the right, using a derma roller increased mean hair count 5 times more effectively than minoxidil alone after 12 weeks. Using a derma roller is perfect for temples. That area is easily accessible and you can see what you're doing yourself. It's very easy to use the derma roller along the hairline than it is to use with diffuse thinning as shown now. So next, what you want to do is look at treating the source of the hair loss. With the previous methods, you can successfully put a stop to further hair recession. However, what can you do to treat the cause of the loss and trigger regrowth? The answer to this question will depend on the exact cause. Now, as discussed previously, DHT sensitivity is the culprit in male pattern baldness. With this in mind, you can treat the source of male pattern baldness by reducing the DHT that's produced and removing it from your scalp. The salicylic acid shampoo above will provide you with a great start, but that's only the beginning. To really get to the source, you'll need to stop 5-alpha reductase and DHT in their tracks. Now, an effective way to do this is to alter your diet. There are a few ways to go about doing this. Initially, you can start by adding in foods that inhibit 5-alpha reductase and dihydrotestosterone. This will help to lower levels of DHT within the body and can lead to less hair loss. However, if you'd like to trigger hair regrowth, you'll need to incorporate alkaline foods. These are foods that can help to balance your bloodstream's pH. This leads to a healthier environment all around and can help your hair follicles to reboot. Now, if traction alopecia is the real cause of your rising hairline, then the obvious method of treatment is to stop the cause of tension altogether. However, if hair loss has already occurred, then damage has already been done to the follicles and a more aggressive approach will be required. As the constant pressure on your follicles has led to hair miniaturization, you can help to treat the issue by stimulating the scalp and improving blood flow. Both of these will work to deliver the best nutrients to the follicles and in fact can even increase the thickness of the hair. Simple stimulation methods include scalp massage and microneedling, both mentioned before. However, you can also apply circulation improving essential oils such as peppermint and rosemary oil to get the boost you need. Then if you believe that stress is causing these early stage loss, it's the most obvious treatment for stress related temple balding is reducing it. This can be a bit tricky, but it is possible. So what we recommend is breath control, which is practiced for centuries by Eastern societies, and it's a practice that can lower cortisol levels and put an end to physical symptoms. All you need is 5 minutes and a quiet environment to get started. Now, what we're going to share for you now is this science-based must-try mixture. One simple trick for frontal hair loss is a homemade mixture which can be applied before bed each night. Firstly, buy a bottle of natural magnesium oil. Look for one around 200 milliliters in size with a spray top. To the bottle, add 10 millimeters of peppermint oil and 10 milliliters of rosemary oil and mix together. Now you have a natural mixture that is even more powerful at regrowing hair along the hairline than even minoxidil. Now apply a small amount of mixture to the hairline and rub it into the scalp, leave it in overnight and then wash it out with cold water in the morning. And on the right there, we've got a study that found that peppermint oil was one of the most effective things at hair regrowth, and it actually beat minoxidil in this study. Now, while it may feel like it, temple balding is not the end of the world. There are a variety of treatment methods you can use to put a stop to the hair loss you're experiencing, and even reverse the loss. Remember, the sooner you catch it, the easier it is to treat. That's what we wanted to share with you today. Don't forget to get your free Hairguard analysis with the link in the description, and if you've not already subscribed, please make sure to hit subscribe. See you in the next video.